Putting shots onto mainline for a rig. When you're using 010 mainline, if you don't follow some simple little tips, you can break the mainline, and it's very, very frustrating. I mean, I set up probably hundreds of rigs a year, and once you've got all the shot in place and shotted the float up, and you'll start to slide them shots up the line and the line breaks, it's very frustrating. And I've learnt a little technique from one of my friends that makes putting shots on the line very easy. Now, I've already rubbered the float to the line. You'll notice that I've got the gap between the body and the base rubber there of about sort of, I don't know, 15 millimetres, so that there's less pressure on the line round the float. You don't mark the float with the line when you're sliding it, and also that pressure on the eye to break the line is cut down. So I've got 3 rubbers to the base of the float on the wire stem, which are quite tight, but not too tight. I just wet the line, slide the float up out of the way, and forget about the float. Right, the next thing to do then is to place the shots on the line. I always put the first 2 shots. This is just a bloodworm rig that I'm rigging up for the canal for this weekend. Right, and the first number 10 I just place on the line and squeeze in place. I use a pair of, I think they're just pliers what's used for dressmaking, for sequins, I think. They're just a pair I've got from Hobbycraft. They're a terrific piece of kit for putting shots on. Right, the next number 10 I put above that. I always have 2 number 10 droppers on like a 0.6 float, which is what this float is. I've got 2 number 10s on the line already, and this float I've used a lot of times. It takes 7 number 8s and then some trimming shot. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put those 6 or 7, put the 7 number 8s on the line. Right, again it's an easy process, because each time, if I don't keep dropping the shot, I can get them shots into place. I always finish up with shots all over my carpet, but they're picked up quite easily with the hoover. That's 4 in place. You'll notice I never have to put the pliers down. You can imagine when I'm doing hundreds of rigs a year, I'd soon get lead poisoning if I were biting the shots on, and of course you can't gauge how much pressure you're putting on or anything with biting shots in place. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 more, and that takes 7 number 8s this float. Right, so they're squeezed in place. So that's my shots in place, but because you've squeezed them into place onto the 010 line, that's damaged that line in that area. So what I do then, I get the pliers and just mark the line, just gently squeeze onto the line 3 times. Now you can see, I don't know if you can see on camera, but that just flattens the line slightly above. Now once I wet the line, then them shots will pull over. You can feel them pull over them bumps, but what it does, it just opens the shot out. So as you pull it up the line doesn't break. You can see it go over them 3 indentations that I've put on the line. And each time I just wet the line, you can feel it just pull over them, and it just opens the shot up. And what it does, you're not marking the line above at all. So every time you can feel that just click over them 3 marks, and you can pull it into place. Every time I wet the line. So you're not marking the line above them 3 indentations each time you slide it up. It's important to try and pick good quality shot as well. There's not many shots on the market where it sits on the line all uniform like that. So I take a lot of time in picking shots out. Again, then the 2 number 10s are just slid up into place as well. Right. Now for a bloodworm rig, I always keep the shot in so that the actual bulk shot is at the top of the winder, and at the base of the shots is where the loop goes. Now this is also quite a little bit of ingenious that I have with the loops at the bottom. Right, I just need to reach across here for something. Right, the loop on the bottom of the actual rig, I make an overhand loop. Because it's 010 line and I'm using quite light hook lengths, what I do, I make a loop, turn it over itself like that. So you form the loop and then I put it onto the wire on the gauge and just pull it down. Right. And the reason I do this is because I want the tiniest little loop at the bottom of the rig. Now this is quite important because this part of the rig, I used to get tangles. Because you're fishing loop to loop, it's a quick way of putting your hook lengths on, but with bloodworm I used to get odd spin-ups with light hook lengths. So I make that loop as small as I can, right, and that does away with the tangles, because my bottom shot I always put against that loop, and then your hook length is joined on. But that tiny little loop stops any tangles. So that's it, the rig is then complete and I can put it onto the winder. And again, what I do then, I just slide the float up roughly. I mean, I know that the depth on the canal is about 8-9 foot where I'm fishing this weekend. So I move the float up and then above that I just give 1, 2, 3 metres of line above the float, just to give me extra line. So you can see that's the rig completed. So I can now place this onto a winder. These tiny little loops take a little bit of getting on it. I've got a black background I can see quite easily against. So that's it. The shots you can see is at top of the winder. They just want moving up a fraction. I can just move them up. Because they've slid over them indentations, I can move them quite easily. Then I just put all the line to one side of the winder and then it can't possibly tangle. Move the float up into place and then the extra line goes onto the rest of the winder on the opposite side. So it's nearly impossible to get tangled when you're taking the actual float off the winder. Once that's in place, then I just put a single loop on the back side of the winder and then just place an anchor into that to complete the rig. So I just place a rubber anchor into the back of the actual rig, pull it onto the winder, and that's the rig complete.